I'm Kendall MENECH from K9H2O, and I'm happy to be out in Maple Ridge visiting a friend of mine. This is Dr. Adrian Walton, who has a unique and wonderful interest in reptiles. Today we are talking about an animal that is in desperate need of a home. He's difficult to place. He's only got about 6 to 9 months to find a home. And we need a very, very special kind of person to take this animal on. So how long have you had this lovely creature named Asmadeaus?
About 2 months now.
Yeah?
Yeah, he was brought over from Vancouver Island, and because we were kind of the last ditch place that they weren't able to find a home. They tried for almost 6 months, and they were moving out of province, and so he shows up on my doorstep.
He came from a caring family that cared about him and wanted to see him go to a safe place. That's wonderful. And do you know how old he is?
He's approximately 12 years old.
And how old do they live?
They can go up to 50 years.
50?
Yes.
I thought it was 20. That's pretty amazing, 50 years.
Most of it's like 25 to 35, but I've had them go up to 50 years.
Wow. Now, do these animals ever stop growing?
No, they grow as long as they live.
As long as they live.
The older they are, the bigger they are.
Do they tend to have medical issues as they get older?
No, actually, they're remarkably healthy animals if they are maintained in the proper environment. Mm-hmm. Sadly, most people don't put them into the environment that they need in terms of warmth and humidity. And the big one, of course, we're about to find out, is space.
Space, right. And how about feeding them? Are they expensive to feed?
Cheaper than my dog. We'll talk about food later, but these guys are going through about 2 rats a week, which is about, I'd say about $8. $8? $12 if you're getting it through a pet store.
Okay, okay. And can he be with any other animals or other creatures of his like? He's got to have his own place?
They should be confined into their own enclosure.
Okay, all right. How about where can he be adopted to? Does he have to stay in British Columbia? Can he go outside? What's his legal status? Well,
the legal status is he's what's called controlled alien species, and that means that there are some pretty significant restrictions on where he can be placed. Because of his species, there are certain locations that do not allow them. For instance, you cannot have him in downtown Vancouver. They have a restriction against this particular species. But basically outside of the Lower Mainland, as far as I know, there's very few restrictions. Toronto, for instance, has a restriction, but outside of Toronto, it goes, a couple of miles away, and yes, you can have them.
Wonderful. Well, shall we take a look?
Sure thing. He just had a bath, so he's a little bit wet.
He's beautiful. Hi. Oh, you're huge. So how much does he weigh, Adrian?
57 pounds at our last weighing.
You gained weight since I saw you last. Hi.
Now, he is a Burmese python. He's approximately 11.5 feet long and 57 pounds.
How you doing?
Oh, he's actually pretty heavy. He's dead weight, so it is a little bit on the awkward side.
All right. Okay. So this is a constrictor, but they do have teeth.
Oh, yes.
They have teeth to grip, right?
Yep. They're approximately 5 millimeters long, and so you don't want to get bit by these guys. And so the rules are, when you're feeding them, to use a set of tongs, or at least hide your hand so he doesn't associate your hand with food.
Right, right. And they smell with their tongue. Do they have pits for hearing, or?
No, well, not this particular species. I mean, there are some pythons that have heat pits, but yeah, actually, no, they don't. Sorry, that's actually rattlesnakes.
Oh, okay, okay.
I can honestly say I'm not too sure on that one.
I love snakes, but I don't know a lot about them.
That would be the pit vipers.
Right. Okay, well, we would like to put it out to the world that this beautiful creature needs a very caring home. What size cage would he need because of his length? What's the legality on that?
Well, there is no legality. It's more like what is considered to be the norm. And for a species, this one, the general rule of thumb is that they need a cage that is at least, if you add the length of the cage by the width of the cage, is the same length of the animal.
Okay.
So, for instance, this guy's 12 feet long, so a 6 by 6 foot cage would work. which very few, i.e. a room, but also like even an 8-foot by 4-foot cage would also be appropriate for him.
Okay.
Her, actually, I'm sorry, we did
it's a
sex
her?
it. Yeah.
Oh, okay. You're beautiful. You're absolutely beautiful.
I call these guys the Great Danes of the snake world.
That's a good line. I like that.
They're big, mellow goofs is the best way to describe it. This is not a species that you sit there getting particularly worried about. My daughter's been within a few inches of this guy, of course, with restrictions on the head.
Sure.
Oh, and he just peed.
Oh.
On my foot. Lovely.
Oh, he did more.
Yeah.
Oh, thank you for the
Apparently,
gift. I think that's called good luck. If a python pees on your foot, I think that's good luck.
There we go.
Okay, so he's a pretty mellow girl. She is.
She's a sweetie. That's why we're working so hard to find a good home for her, because we really do think she deserves it.
Yes.
She's just always, she's a gentle giant.
Wow, she's just gorgeous. So, okay, how often do they molt?
Well, actually, if you look at her eyes, they're actually a little bit gray right now. She's actually going through her second molt in the last 2 months. She likes you. She's coming to you. Well, just
you got her?
She just wants to explore.
Yeah. There you go. There you go. Just an incredible skin. Beautiful coloration.
They're not slimy. Granted, she's wet, but that's because she's been in her bath this morning. She likes to do that just before she sheds.
Yeah. In a perfect world, it would be lovely to return her to her land of birth.
Her land of birth was probably Victoria. These are captive bred animals. I mean, there hasn't been...
Can they be rehomed in the wild?
No, no.
Why not?
Well, the problem is Burmese pythons retail for maybe $75 for a baby.
Oh, yeah.
So, you know, there's just not really a market.
Where are you going?
There's just not, and they're not endangered or anything like that. So the cost of flying them back to Indonesia just is not justifiable. Unfortunately, that's why so many of them get dumped off in the Everglades, and that's one of the reasons why, yeah, they just don't really...
She's going... That would be a wonderful vacation trip, though. You could write it off.
Yeah,
My trip to Indonesia.
I'm going to move her. What we'll do is... the water is just because, again, from her bath. So I'm just going to put her back in. Okay. And then I can still hold her up.
Okay.
But that way...
There.
She's also... I'm getting a little tired with
her. She's heavy. Yeah. Okay.
We have a policy here at Dewdney. We do not feed live animals, ever. So she's actually on frozen mice that we get from a breeder that's basically just... So we get her food from specialized breeders who breed specifically for the reptile trade. Okay. Okay. Wow. Well, this is a snake for somebody who has experience with reptiles. This is not really designed for like a 17-year-old who's never had a snake before. This is not an animal to show how cool or tough you are. I mean, that would be like saying, oh, I've got a, you know, I can handle a Great Dane, therefore I'm a super tough individual. Yeah. No, it's not like that. Yeah. So, sorry, she's actually getting a little grumpy right now. Yeah. Okay. Okay, baby. That was good, Adrian. That was really good. Thank you, Adrian, for sharing Asmadeaus with us here at the Dewdney Animal Hospital in Maple Ridge. We are really hopeful to find a place for this beautiful, beautiful snake. So you can contact me at K9H20 if you or someone you know is a reptile expert and can give this wonderful animal the space it needs to continue to live its life in captivity. And again, thank you. That was terrific.